Today we'll be presenting the integration project. We know that our company has been considering to further develop JMessenger and move to that, but we propose that instead of updating and maintaining a proprietary communications tool, such as JMessenger, that we integrate an outsourced set of tools to meet the company needs for communication, collaboration, and data storage in a secure and easy way to manage. We've really been able to tell through our research that we'll be able to save resources and costs by first integrating to Google G Suite as a tool of our primary communication system. We also believe that it would be best for the programmers to move to GitHub Business Access, which could be hosted by them or by our company. But it allows for code-specific version tracking and shows all commits, branches, and updates. Also, we propose that instead of an on-site server, we go ahead and move forward with an off-site data center to save on resources. If we do this, we won't be responsible for upgrading hardware or maintaining the premises. Finally, we propose that we use existing hardware that our staff already uses and only purchase new as we expand. We feel the implementation can be completed without issue as the proposed software is easy to learn and will not require extensive training. As you can see by our side-by-side feature comparison, JMessenger really doesn't stand up next to G Suite and GitHub Business. While JMessenger requires constant development to keep current, G Suite and GitHub Business is maintained by the vendor, and so we are only required to download any updates. JMessenger is unwieldy and not easy to learn. In comparison, G Suite and GitHub really are easy to learn and adapt to. It's also interesting that we have JMessenger require its users to retrieve any communication, otherwise it'll go unnoticed, while G Suite and GitHub Business both pushes new communications to the user so that it comes in immediately. Not to mention, JMessenger again requires a proprietary database to manage communications and logging, while G Suite and GitHub Business have their own database for logging, which is managed by the vendor with security and archived so communications are not lost. As you can see here with the quality and assurance standards, the functionality is very nice as it works on multiple systems and browsers, including mobile. It allows for secure login and authentication, and it meets our company needs, allowing for communication tracking and logging file changes. It's very reliable, knowing that both Google and GitHub are very stable companies, and they do offer 24/7 support if we do need any help. They offer backups, which are stored on their servers, and their backups are managed. It'll also increase efficiency because we'll be outsourcing permits costs, savings by not needing additional on-site personnel. As we continue, we can see that the usability is really nice as well. The software is easy to understand and intuitive to work with. There's little training which should be required for users to begin working. It functions well on multiple systems, and it's got a clean interface, which is easy to use and manipulate. When it comes to maintainability, it's nice to know that analytics are included with the packages to track utilization, and that software is kept updated and meeting current standards. Not to mention in portability, that it works well with other programs, allowing users to open files from other sources and allows for files to be downloaded in other formats. Our economic assessment of the project shows a minor loss during the investment stage, as you can see here, but increased savings in the following 5 years to come. We'll have major savings in comparison to JMessenger because we won't need to hire additional staff just to manage proprietary systems. We'll also save money by using existing hardware and shifting to an off-site data center instead of trying to manage all those costs on our own. We can save with the software we choose over comparative options. As we move along to the risk assessment, we'll be comparing JMessenger against G Suite and GitHub. I want to point out the probability score with JMessenger. As you can see, all of these risks are actually really high, which means they very well could happen. We'll start by remembering that there will be lots of software update requirements with JMessenger as we try to implement this within our company. With that, there will become lots of stressed employees. Job stress will take a toll on the individuals, which could increase employee turnover. And most importantly, we feel like we'll lose a lot of productivity because employees won't receive messages quickly. It's important to remember that in JMessenger, we have it set up for the employees to click the receive button in order to receive the message. And they won't be clicking that all day unless they go to that and remember to click that. Only then will they see work. And if they do it right before somebody sends them something, then we'll lose that opportunity for them to work until they remember to click it again. When it comes to the G Suite and GitHub, we can notice that the probability score is low. Although it still is important to remember that the impact could be high if any of these things do actually happen. It would be things like third-party server data loss, an information security breach, server outages, or price changes. Many of those things could happen, but the likelihood really isn't there. And when we compare it to JMessenger, we really feel a lot better about G Suite and GitHub. As for our project plan, to proceed with the integration of G Suite and GitHub into our operations, we would need 5 days for G Suite. We would begin by installing the new system and then importing our users into the system so that their accounts are set up and ready for when we make that transition. We would use 3 days for the installation and 1 day each for adding roles and users. We'd then replicate that process for GitHub, except for we'd expect it to take 4 days since it would only be set up for active programmers. From there, we would begin introductory training ran by the management staff, while the system engineers would begin backing up the current data and accounts that we have. We estimate that the backup for the current data in the system and the current email accounts would take about 4 days. We would begin by having a day of testing before we proceed with the imports to make sure that all of that happens just fine. And we estimate that it would take about 5 days to complete the import and another 5 days in order to import the email to the new system. As for our chosen methodology for implementation, we've decided to go with a type of agile method in order to implement the new software called AIM, which is also known as Accelerating Implementation Methodology. We believe that this methodology will allow for users to both have the quickest and most seamless of transitions to both Google's G Suite and GitHub Business. We estimate that it would take around 6 weeks to have a complete changeover to the new systems, as we do not have a large number of users to transition. We measure our milestones on a weekly basis in order to make sure that we are completing all the processes during each phase. As for our team composition, to upgrade our current system and maintain the new system, we believe we'll just need a small team of about 3 system engineers. The team will be able to use an agile system such as Scrum, a method that allows the software to be built and maintained in a series of short iterations of work in order to maximize the individual output. The engineer team would focus on 4 areas, those being code reviews, which would look for obvious logical errors in the code as well as making sure that all cases are fully implemented, task branching, which allows all the team members to work individually but in collaboration with each other using a central code base, thus allowing the work to be more easily split up and reducing waste time and redundancy. Continuous integration, which means checking for errors as you go and pausing development and addressing those breakages when they are found. Regular release cadence means keeping the system up to date. Constantly upgrading the system keeps it running smoothly, keeping our company on the cutting edge and may provide a competitive advantage over some less forward-thinking competitors. Using Google's G Suite and GitHub requires no additional manpower and can be easily set up and troubleshot by our existing system engineers. Finally, as we review the use cases, we'll start with JMessenger. We can see that the user interactions are overly complicated and inefficient, especially remembering that users are required to click a button to receive incoming messages. It just really isn't a user-friendly software. In comparison, with Hangouts or G Suite, the use case diagram here shows that user interactions are flexible and self-explanatory. They interact in an integrated fashion for easy user control. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our presentation today as we hopefully plan to move forward with the integration project. Thank you for your time.